What is up, guys? Meg Guy back with another video, and today is the top 10 grunts. Grunts are probably one of the most prominent units that you're going to use in dioramas, and so I figured, maybe I should just tell everyone what I think of them and what I think the best ones are. Mostly it's going to be new articulation, but there are going to be some old articulation, and yeah, so let's just get right into this. Number 10. And number 10 is the Gold Grunt from the Charlie series. And this is kind of an old figure, and it's also old articulation. Honestly, if they remade this figure, it would probably be higher on the list. But if you've actually seen this figure in person, it does have a gold metallic flake to it, and it looks really nice. And if you have like a blue light or something, it kind of makes it glow gold, and it can really stand out in dioramas if you use a blue light. So yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. It's not like a crazy interesting grunt. The storm grunts are, I like them, but they're probably something that I will be okay once Mega moves past towards the like old looking grunts from Halo CE. All right, and number 9, it is the another storm grunt. So I know I said that, but also the way that they made these storm grunts, the colors that they use on them are great. This one is from the Challenger series, and it's the new articulation, which is really good, even though they really should put some elbow joints, but I can't complain about it too much. They're a really good size. This one is another metallic green, which I think is really interesting, and it's something that I haven't really seen before on any other figure, so I really like it. And also, this is one of the first figures that I can remember at least where they had a removable helmet. So I think that's really cool. Hopefully they make this color again with some different grunt molds. And yeah, I think this figure is really cool, even though the Storm Grunts aren't my favorite, but they're still alright. Alright, and then we have number 8. And number 8 is the orange, I guess just normal grunt. I think they've called it a grunt conscript for the banished, but this grunt is, I mean, it's kind of just a basic grunt that you see in Halo CE and Halo 2. It's got the little face mask, which is really cool, and also you can see its face under it, which I think is nice. I don't really put them in dioramas like that, but I think it looks good. And this figure is so great because you can just have tons of them in a diorama and it looks so natural because that's how they are in the games. There are just tons of them everywhere. And it looks really nice. The orange is not really a special color, but it's a color that's very nostalgic and it's nice. And I think that this figure is one of the most massable grunts on this list. And yeah, I think that they have this in the mongoose, the little mongoose set. And so a ton of people have a lot of these. So yeah, that's number 7 or 8. Sorry, it's a pretty great figure. All right, number 7. This is number 7. Sorry, and it is the Blue Grunt from the 10th anniversary series. This one is kind of it looks like the orange one, but it feels like it's more of a high ranking grunt. I think it's probably that blue armor seems more like it could be a grunt captain or something. I'm not exactly sure. I think it's probably just the same rank as the orange one, but it looks really cool. It looks good in dioramas, and it gives you some distinction between the orange one. And yeah, it's a pretty easy figure to enjoy. The blue color, I wish it was a little bit more metallic, but it does look pretty nice. And I hope that they just keep using this mold and add some more interesting colors because I think that this figure, it's good, and it's with the orange figure in that it's good, but it has a lot of potential, and I think that they could move this to the next step or the next level if they just added some new interesting maybe paint schemes and things like that to this mold. All right, number 6. And number 6 is I was surprised that a Storm Grunt made it this high on the list, trust me. But if you've seen this in person, you understand why. It has sort of a nice mix of red and purple mixed together, and it looks gorgeous in person. It's that, again, they have this great metallic colors that they've been using on the Storm Grunts for some reason. I wish that they would use it on other grunts, although I haven't seen it yet, except for one other, which you will see later on. And it's just kind of nice. It fits along really well with the Julum Dama's Covenant color scheme, and I think that's really helpful for dioramas. I want to have this in the spirit, so it looks really good. It's pretty basic, nice metallic color, and yeah, now we're kind of getting towards the really the ones that I think are really standouts for Mega Constructs. All right, and number five. Number five is the 10th anniversary aerial ambush set grunt. And this one is kind of special for a lot of reasons. As I was saying earlier, I really like the metallic colors, and this one is in a very iconic metallic color. And that is because it is actually sort of a replica of the old aerial ambush grunt. And you might not remember them. They're like really tiny grunts. You used to get three in a pack when you would buy blind bags. It's almost like kind of the flood are now. And this is actually what that figure looked like. They look terrible in person, and dioramas they're just too tiny to actually be grunts, so you don't really take them that seriously. But it's super cool that they did that throwback and they have a really nice metallic color. And so I just think this is a great set, and this pays great homage to Mega Construx Origins. I think that that kind of pushes it ahead a lot of the other grunts, is that it is something that is iconic for Mega Construx. I think that's great. All right, number four. And number four is the Black Spec Ops Grunt. And this was really, I felt weird putting this high on the list. Um, just from the picture, you're like, okay, this is awesome. It's a Black Spec Ops Grunt, but it's also in the old articulation. The old articulation. So not the last articulation, but the one before that, where they're tiny. They weren't quite as tiny as the first ones, but they were still super small, and they just kind of weren't intimidating enough. But this figure is just a little bit more special. It looks better than in this picture right here, but it's still tiny, which is weird. It makes that needler look huge. It's great. They have to remake this set. I think that maybe one day it'll come in a Halo Heroes series or something. It's gorgeous, and hopefully they add it with a purple fuel rod, because I think that that black and purple is such a nice mix. So hopefully this set is remade. I can't imagine why it wouldn't be. I think the Spec Ops mold in general is just something that needs to be remade, and so hopefully they do. All right, number three. Now we're getting into the real. These are really hard to pick from. Of course, it is a Victor the Grunt. I know people would have had an absolute tantrum if I wouldn't have put this, and it's a great figure, so I can't even blame them. I think that this figure is going to be made a ton of times, and hopefully they add some more interesting molds. I think this one's great. It has the little Banish logo. It has this more heavy mask, which I think is cool. He looks like he could take more damage than just a normal standard grunt, and just this pack mule grunt being a thing is really interesting and makes this grunt stand out compared to others. So hopefully they add more color schemes to it. I think it's cool what weapons you can hold on it. I don't actually have one in hand yet, so hopefully it's as good in person as it is in the in pictures and concept art and other stuff like that, because I think this is really great, and I think this adds such a cool aspect to banished dioramas. You can have brutes picking up weapons and them, being mad at them. But yeah, it's really interesting. All right, number two. And number two is, I went back and forth for this and number one a lot. This is my favorite colored grunt. It's this very cool uh, metallic blue color. Honestly, even the pictures, they can't capture how cool it is. Even my videos don't capture how cool it is. I only have one of them, but it's just beautiful. It comes in the, oh gosh, Stormbound series, I believe. If not Stormbound, then Maverick. Um, it's just reflective and nice, and this is the only figure right now that you could use as a Spec Ops grunt, because this color scheme makes it kind of stand out compared to other grunts a lot. And it's dark. It looks really good with the Spec Ops Elites, so that made me really happy. It's it's a great figure. I barely pushed it to number two, and if you can get your hands on this grunt somehow, even if you have to pay a little more than normal, I highly recommend it. It's a great figure. And yeah, I think it's good. Also, uh, next is number one. And this was very hard to decide, but I think it's kind of an obvious choice now that I'm looking into it. Yap Yap the Destroyer. The most detailed grunt Mega Construx has ever made. I think by far. It has a crown, which is crazy. It has awesome paint schemes. It's this nice like orange color, and you can't really see the paint schemes from this angle, but come from Halo Wars 2. This came in the Series 10 Heroes. It's a figure that I don't think anyone would have ever thought would be made. Just the fact that they have a Grunt Halo Heroes figure is crazy to me, but I'm super happy they did it because I think that this is going to be one of the rarest and hardest figures to find one day, and luckily I actually have one, so I was very happy with that. It's cool, it's well painted, it's got a crown, which is an awesome piece to have just in general. This is the coolest grunt that Mega's ever made, and honestly, I would be surprised if anyone would dispute that. I know some people say Victor as a meme, which I understand, but let's be honest, this one is just